I want everybody to know that we want you to stay focused. This is not the finish line. This is the starting point. Yes, we appreciate and we commend the DA's office for charging these officers appropriately. But that's just step one. Step two is convictions on all charges. And then after that, we have to find a way to try to make things right for the Brooks family and for those children. Like Chris and I have said before, justice is not something that is going to be easy in this case. It never is. How do you find justice for 3 little girls who will never see their father again? How do you get justice for a little girl who on her birthday every single year from now until the rest of her life, she will remember that that's the day she found out that her dad died? How do you get justice for that little girl? Since this happened, I've talked to several people who have said different things about what went on, about what Mr. Brooks should or should not have been doing, about what the officers should or should not have been doing. And to those people, I say, with these new revelations, again, I implore you, look into your heart and have some empathy for another human being, because that's what Rayshard Brooks is and was, another human being. He may not look like you, he may not be where you're from, but he is another human being just like you. Tamika Miller is a human being. She's a mother, she's a daughter, she's a wife, and she's a human being just like you. So when you see Officer Rolfe kick Rayshard Brooks after he shot him in the back, while he's laying on the ground dying, think about that before you start to get into things that don't matter at all, that are completely irrelevant to this case, and to generally just to all of us as humans. We should be together on this, not apart. I was taught when I was a kid that you don't kick a man when he's down. I mean, I learned that playing sports. I was taught that was a kind of an American thing. You know, that is one of our ideals. We don't kick people when they're down. Well, what you saw and what we all saw is one officer standing on a man who was dying, standing on top of him. And then the other officer literally kicking him while he was on the ground dying, literally kicking him while he's down. What that showed me as I was watching that press conference is this: America is not America for all Americans. And as we come to the July 4th holiday in a couple of weeks, there will be a lot of people celebrating. But there will be just as many people who are not going to feel comfortable celebrating, who will still be in the streets fighting for injustice. So, again, we ask everyone, continue fighting, keep doing your part, and stand with and support this family, because right now they really need you. Thank you.
I just want to say thank you, and I just hope that everything falls out how it needs to fall out and these officers are charged. I'm really hurt. Father's Day is coming up, and all I can do is just think about what if my husband was still here.
The biggest question is how do we feel about the charges? I know there's a lot of them, a lot of charges. This isn't like a celebration or a victory lap of watching these officers get charged. Nobody's happy, nobody's celebrating, because this never should have happened. We shouldn't have to celebrate as African Americans when we get a piece of justice, like today. We shouldn't have to celebrate and parade when an officer is held accountable for actions that we saw and actions that we didn't know about until today. Some people thought that we would be happy and be celebrating and have a fist in the air, but it's more of disappointment that this is the state of policing and this is where we're at. But I saw a lot of hope today. As the district attorney said, this is the first time another officer has decided to be a government witness and testify against another officer. That's what policing is. That's the kind of officers that make these streets safe, that stop instances like this from happening. When you're willing to step up and say that was wrong, even if that's going to risk my career, even if people won't like me and other officers will be angry, that's the reason that I always say not every single officer is out there trying to kill somebody. But we're also not going to play that rhetoric game that y'all saw today of all officers are great. No, we've seen what has happened. It's the same assumption that we don't want officers making about black people, that all people are from the ghetto, that all people are hood, that all of us are up to no good, that you need to search every young black male that you see, which leads to situations like this. It's both assumptions. So are we watching all these policies that directly affect families like this, all these arguments, Democrats versus Republicans, all of this ridiculousness, and they're not starting from step one. How do we actually fix this and not what's best for your political party? Because the things I saw today, we're going to be back here next year. What's the point of national collection of data if the data is flawed? We have handled cases where the internal affairs reports aren't taken properly. So you'll be collecting data that is nonsensical and doesn't hold officers accountable unless you fix the department internal affairs first. But they don't want reality. They want policies and elections. And that's fine, but we'll end up here again. So was this justice today? Not yet. We still don't have a definition for it. There's more heartache that families have to go through this and fight the public to try and get justice for a man that was shot in the back twice. But we do thank everybody in this country for the outpouring of support, the people that are marching for change peacefully, keeping his name alive positively. And maybe one day this country will get it right with policing and we'll all come together. Brief questions real quick because she is exhausted.
Point about the second officer agreeing to cooperate and be a witness. We're now hearing from his attorney, Don Samuel, saying that the district attorney is mistaken, that the second officer is cooperating, but had not agreed to be a witness against the other officer and has not agreed to plead guilty to anything. Do you have any comment about this update from Don Samuel?
Yeah, I didn't believe he would plead guilty to anything, but the statements and information that they've already gotten so far has led them to believe that this is going to help secure the prosecution of the other officer. For him to even come in and meet with the district attorney, as you know, that's rare and doesn't happen often. So we look forward to what he has to say and how this will help with the prosecution of the case.
And Ms. Miller, I know that if you could step over just aside, your point is you're trying to find out the full facts, the full truth, everything that happened and everybody who should be accountable here. Is that how you're looking at this now as you take in what the district attorney said this afternoon and try to get your head around what his presentation is going to be to the grand jury once he is able to present it?
Yes.
In your own words, I mean, how did you react to the information that he was able to help you understand?
I was applaud. I was very grateful that he's coming forth with the truth.
Last one.
I have a quick question, if you don't mind. As I understand from the district attorney during his statements, he mentioned that you were taking in this information in real time, just like we all were.
Right.
When you